All right, all right, all right. Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Amuna, and you don't know already. I pray everybody is doing well. All right, all right, all right. To those who have just joined us, welcome back again. We are going to get into this Marcus Garvey conversation. Let me fix some. Listener, all of this jokes and reading got me feeling a little hungry. Do you guys come with your snacks ready, or do you think it's time for an ITAL food break? The Russ and him Empress say, yeah, ITAL food break. So listener, this is Imuna, and not only do I read and write novels, I also do a little something something, well, a kind of big something in the kitchen, right? So I wrote this amazing Hey Pumpkin cookbook. Inside, pumpkin seed milk, carrot punch smoothie, listener, even jerk tofu strips. But the tofu is made from pumpkin seeds. So join me on a culinary adventure with the pumpkin seed as we explore the benefits of this green superfood. You already know potassium, zinc, it is loaded and highly beneficial. Again, a high source of iron, zinc, magnesium, vitamin E, and it helps boost the immune system. This book, as well as Island Twist, is available on Amazon today. So go on over and let's get back to the story. All right, all right, all right. My finger pushed the commercial, but hey, why not? Because sometimes I forget. So again, support the thing, support the book buying and the time, so that we can continue to serve in this capacity, because I really do see it as a service. I want to thank those who get back at me, those who share their reports with me. Congratulations to those who have found their families through some of the information that I have shared here on the channel. That gives me joy. You understand me? I say, because you don't know how much people are looking for or longing to reconnect or fill in the gaps, and so it is a blessed thing. And never feel like I wouldn't respond. I get the email, welcome artist, welcome to the conversation. I respond. If I get the email, I do my best to respond to all of them. So thank you with that. And just, I got some interesting news recently, and I just want to say, love your loved ones. You understand? Let them know that you love them, uh and live life to the fullest. You understand what I say? Yeah, that's my message for today. Live life to the fullest. Find your purpose and manifest that and walk good. You know what I mean? So that at the end of the day, you don't know where you're coming from. You know what I mean? And that you have done that which have been tasked unto you. So with that said, let's go ahead and get back into this story, yeah? So Marcus, who was a man on a mission, he embodied what I just said. He tried to find what his purpose was early. He tried to apply himself. He didn't try. He applied himself 110%, right? To to what he fulfilled, or what he thought was his mission, which was to uplift the people, uplift his people by any means necessary. He was the Malcolm before Malcolm, right? He was like, by any means necessary, or like they like to say in the Caribbean, by the hook or by the crook, right? So we have Marcus going back and forth at this time with Amy. The thing now look good. Marcus gets stuck outside of the country for how much day and weeks and months. Amy have him got caught. She had dragged him through the system. I personally think she was ODing, but hey, you know what I mean? And Amy now is going to address Amy number two in some paperwork. All right. Then that's kind of where we stopped. So just to back up a little bit, the thing now look good. Amy looked like Amy and Marcus are inclined towards one another. She was over there playing double agent Carmen San Diego. You know what I mean? She was feeding him information, and now she's the secretary. I would make a joke, but I'm not making a joke, right? Greetings, Nubian books. Welcome to the conversation. Right? Don't forget to like and subscribe. All right? Don't forget to, if you're new to the channel, so that you can get your notifications. What's going on, Jerry? I've heard people say they're not getting the notification. You know, YouTube is sometimes. All right. So let's pick up on page 72. We're reading from Amy Ashwood Garvey, book by Tony Martin. So I'm just going to read over a little bit. The Garvey Ashwood Jakes eternal triangle, that's what he called it, remained an integral part of the lives of all three protagonists until their respective deaths, and would resurface sometimes with great acrimony at regular intervals throughout their lives. So their lives are woven together now, because you can't tell one story without telling the other. And if you try, then you're being disingenuous, right? You're misrepresenting the reality of what happened. A portion of an undated handwritten draft of a letter to Jake surviving in Amy Ashwood's papers. That's why I keep on. I said, write it down. Write it down. Today I spoke to some young children at the Caribbean Day at the library, big up Bakaska. And, and I was talking to them about the same thing. If you could write, what would you write? Right? And we all have that ability. Write it down. Write it down if it's important. That you would like to share. Don't let other people write your history for you, because then they're going to make it do what they want it to. Okay. A portion of an undated, apparently written decades after the event of 1919 and 1920, it illustrates both Amy Ashwood's perspective on what happened in those fateful years and the immediacy which these events maintain in the minds of the main actors 30, 40, even 50 years after they transpired. Like, hey, when me a young girl, me won't believe what that girl they do me. Shout out to Shai, who's welcome to the conversation. I don't know if this is Jerry said that asked Amy to brush your teeth. I mean, it's gonna come up, because if you were there in the beginning, people gonna talk. If this is an organization of this many people, and this is not like back in the time, people were in people's spaces. There wasn't any remote working. Okay. So people are in people's faces and in people's spaces, and they gonna talk. Come on, man. First of all, Amy's giving bun at the JO. Marcus is away. People are seeing her moving kind of grimy, and they seeing Marcus being more inclined towards number two. I mean, people gonna talk. So let's continue. What remains of the letter is quoted here in full, except for a brief reference to named persons. You already know? Madame. That's how it start off. I saw me I go start my letter when we have something. I go say, Madam, had you not introduced blank into the picture, I would not find it necessary to write to you and call your attention to a few facts. The opening bars. As the youth them said, no, bars. How's she gonna open? I hope this reaches you well. No, she opened with, Madam, let me set the record straight. Okay? I would like you to remember that, number one, when I met you in America, you were not a public woman, and that I introduced you to the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League, of which I was the co-founder. A rank chapel, hey girl, remember when me meet you, you never depend nothing, and me make you know what go on a road, and me put you in a position and make you turn secretary. So make you remember this thing or the thing go. That's the vibe I'm getting from Amy, number one. Okay. Let me know what y'all got thus far. It's saucy. She came in hot, coming in hot on that first bar right there. And the second bar too. After you lived as a guest in my home in New York for more than 1 year. So beyond saying, I mean make you know life, I make you touch road. She say you catch at my yard. You know they like to class you with the catch, not the catch. You catch at my yard for 1 year. Let me remind you. So I don't know what set her off though, but she's set off at this point. Number two. So that was number one. Now we reach at number two. That after this period, I induced you to become a member of this movement. And 1 month before me married Marcus Garvey, I also employ you. So not only me scrape you up when you never depend nothing. Not only me put you in my house 1 month before me married, me make you turn secretary. Me I'll make you get job. She's still vexed. It looked like to me she's still vexed. And it says, 1 month before my marriage to Marcus Garvey, I also employ you in conjunction with my husband to work in his office as private secretary. Problems that no, I was a bad card. She draw a bad card. She draw a bad card, man. Sometimes you can bring in people and them take your destiny, Them replace you and you put them there, so and you never know. But now you know. It says, this position I procured for you because at the time you were my best friend in the world. That's why I said Amy number two, she did a wrong thing. If you did one, you can't. And again, Marcus agreed when we read earlier that it was Amy number one who got her to work. And they also agreed that she lived at her house. And they also agreed that she came on the honeymoon. I don't know why. So that is where the thing gone wrong. How did you, even if the best friend is grimy, then don't be her friend and then backstab her. If she grimy, then why are you her friend? So that's where it looked a little grimy-ish to me. That it looked grimy to me because she should have just, you should know your friend and then you go do what you want to do. You know what I mean? You don't play the friend role and then betray her in that way. That's grimy, bro. But anywho, let's continue. So she said, yo, me do that because you was bestie. You subsequently removed simultaneously, post years, she never wait, with my husband and live in open and notorious concubinage in New York City. I wonder if she sent a letter, yeah, because the letter, yeah, help me. Yo, when I say Amy said she lived open and notorious concubinage in New York City. And from that time on, you have sought every means at your disposal to abuse, ridicule, frame, insult, and embarrass me to justify your behavior. So Amy, I look for wholesale, put the blame on for your head. Say, listen, you grimy fam, backstabber. She's like, not only did you do all those things, because two people could be wrong at the same time. Some people be like, Amy give Marcus bun. Two things could be wrong at the same time. She could have given him bun, and number two could have been wrong. Like both things could be wrong, right? It could, we don't have to fight over that. Anywho, this joint read like a battle rap, yo. But let me continue. So she was like, yo, you've been coming for me ever since. Not ever since, every since. I have been nothing but helpful to you. So Amy is feeling like she's the victim. You were well aware that you met Marcus Garvey at the height of his attainment, to which you contributed nothing. I think that's why she was going so hard in the paint. She was like, because you never did it. You come on pan the end part when the thing done a build up. No, you want come have my name and replace. But what did she do? She brought somebody in to take her destiny. She didn't even realize it. She had her name, so it was an easy transition. Okay. And you ain't gonna go to work, Amy. If you was at work, would Marcus need another secretary? Anyway, okay, continue. And then she said, but your association with him can be linked with the downward trend of the movement. And that part is right. Because remember, after that was the pinnacle, that was the height. And then stuff started going after Amy and him, that situation, it started going down. And then Amy number 2, because of the way she came in, she's treading water. She's trying to, bail the water out the boat and try when he's in jail and all of this stuff is going on. She's over there stressing and trying to keep the thing together. Let's continue. For Marcus Garvey lost every friend he had after you entered his life because you deliberately planned to control him and he was vulnerable. She goes on to say, I can well remember how you told me that you could not understand why I was going to marry a man like Garvey when I asked you to be my maid of honor. And this is a private note that they found in her paperwork. So this feels like to me the most authentic that we're hearing her voice, right? Not even in the affidavits where she's trying to prove her point. This paper they found undated in her paperwork. This is a paper from one ex-friend to another, like, yo, you violated. I'm feeling this is more authentic than anything I've heard of her so far. So anyway, it says, she asked her, like, yo, why was you gonna marry a dude like Marcus? He wasn't on nothing. I can well remember your jeers. That means she was busting jokes and about the awakening of the Negro. It is good to know, however, that you were able to change your mind when you became familiar with the financial success and the glamour which surrounded Marcus Garvey. Oh my. So she was like, you never really in the movement for the movement, but when she become him secretary and see money a flow and see say things can go on, all of a sudden your mind change. All of a sudden you about that life, eh? Mercy. Hey, I've said my you not only work for him, but openly live with him and subsequently bigamously married him in a land where, as we know, there is no federal divorce law. I suppose you know that at no time over the intervening years have I written any abuse or made any public accusation, even in rebuttal, despite the scandalous and disgraceful. And then it goes dot, 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 y'all. They dotted me. They just left me hanging like Michael Jordan in the air. That was the portion of the letter that they shared. I have to find the yard collection. That's where that letter is coming from, right? So the foregoing was a private letter, but in her biographical manuscript on Garvey, intended for public consumption, Amy Ashwood glossed over her break with Marcus. I too, she rationalized here, found myself in the inevitable position of those who, while holding fast to the ultimate aims of the UNIA, found themselves unable to work in close cooperation with Garvey. She claimed here that power and fame wrought changes in Garvey that she did not like. In any event, the break with Marcus had one important consequence for Amy Ashwood's future work. It caused her to take a closer look at feminism while not abandoning the UNIA Pan-Africanism as a worthy subject for her life's work. Her mission henceforth, she wrote later, would be, quote, to work in more intimate fashion in order to help the African-American or the Afro-American woman to find themselves and rise in life, end quote. The contest between Amy Ashwood and Marcus divided the UNIA membership. Mash it up. There were those who rallied behind their leader and viewed Amy as a wicked, treacherous, and disloyal positive threat to the organization well-being. Others preferred to see the situation rather as a straight case of one woman taking away another woman man. Amy Ashwood, in this view, was seen as a victim and worthy object of sympathy. That's how me here in the letter, in the way that she's positioning herself in the letter, like she was done wrong. You understand? And Amy number two looked like, oh, Amy number one, you're doing wrong, and I see an opportunity, so I'm about to box you out the way and just jump in your spot, right? So, like I said, it seemed like everybody wrong in this situation. Everybody wrong in this situation. This difference of opinion evaded Garvey's own household, where his sister Indiana Pert ranged herself on Amy Ashwood's side. Bam, 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 bam. Indiana said, no, me I take Ashwood, because Ashwood did give me the nice little furs when me did come to America. Now I'm messing with you. Indiana, unlike her brother, was not one for the public spotlight and preferred to keep a low profile in New York. Introducing her to his 1920s International Convention of the Negro Peoples of the World, Marcus had joked, "This is my only sister. She's always keeping herself in the background, always fretting about my safety and crying and praying." Indiana, husband Alfred Pert, had been a foundation member of the UNIA in Jamaica, together with Amy Ashwood, and he and his wife had over the years grown very fond of her. So basically, Amy is like, yo, you a hurry, come up number two. I was there from jump, say go. When homie was in the hotel room with the cot pushed up against the wall, right? I was there. I put you on, and then you gonna come try teeth the guy that you was over here making fun of to begin with. You didn't even want, you thought I shouldn't even marry him. And when my back is turned, pouring a little bit of whiskey, you feel me? Now you out here doing the most? Ah, boy, may I tell you. Oh, boy. Let's see here. Presiding as housekeeper over Garvey's apartment, Indiana and her husband had a ringside view of the unfolding drama, and they made no bones about where their sympathies lay. They were convinced that Amy Ashwood had received a rotten deal. During an exchange between Marcus and Indiana in 1922, Marcus asserted his right to do as he pleased in his own house. My house, Indiana. We can do what we want to do. Mr. Pert, a proud man, informed Marcus that Indiana is your sister, but she is my wife. The very next day, he booked passages for Indiana and himself to return to Jamaica. Some say, hey, Marcus, who you think you talk to? So nobody can say anything to you. So guess what? Mr. Pert say, yo, hold this. I'm out. That was quick. They was probably like, yo, we over this anyway. This is madness. We need an interview with them. We needed an interview with them. They had all the tea. He was like, yo, I've been waiting because, yo, y'all are wilding. We out. Because the next day, y'all was ready to leave, fam. You was ready to leave. It says here, the very next day, he booked passages for Indiana and himself to return to Jamaica. Marcus married Amy Jakes about a month after the Pert's departure. This is in 1922. So one is complaining like, yo, the last time we left off, y'all both cases got dismissed. The separation was dismissed and the annulment was dismissed with the divorce. So how did you marry? Indiana remained close to Amy Ashwood until her death in 1956. Her daughter, Ruth Pert Prescott, continued this friendship up until Amy's death in 1969. Mother and daughter over the years also maintained contact, though less intimate and sometimes even strained, with Amy Jakes. Amy, meanwhile, seems to have participated in UNI activities for a period after the onset of the marital problems. Minutes of Black Star Line directors meeting record her presence on March 22nd and 23rd, 1920. At the line's first anniversary meeting on July the 26th, 1920, however, Garvey's slate of candidates for coming year was returned unopposed and by acclamation. Amy Ashwood Garvey's name was not on the list. Not on the list. Okay, so that is the end of that particular chapter. Okay, but we already know that it's not done. I'm just reading the notes here. We know that it is not done. A lot happened in that chapter. I actually think I came across something where they came to the gleaner and she accuses Marcus of bigamy, much the same way Sedella accused, and rightfully so, Norval of bigamy, right? Because the question is, how did Marcus marry Amy, number 2, when he didn't have proper paperwork to do so? Let me open up the line real quick while I look for this article. I should have already had it, but let me know your thoughts. Let me come and see what you guys have written thus far. We have a little bit of time, so we're going to see after this whole situation what happened. I don't know that it's all lies because they corroborated some of this story of she is scandalous, but I don't think it's all lies because number 1 was the bridesmaid. Number 2 was the bridesmaid. They did agree that she lived there because we read all about Marcus and she and Amy living in the apartment. And then when Amy number 2 left, we also saw Marcus went behind her. So I don't think that part is a lie because we've been reading aspects of it all throughout the conversation. Yeah, even if artist, I agree. She could have seen how she was acting and betrayed her. But question, if you then still don't play her friend because you're putting yourself in a position where you're playing friend and betraying her. Just come out as her enemy and then do what you want to do. But don't lead somebody under false pretenses. That's crazy. That is crazy. All right, hold on 1 second. I'm trying to see something, and then we're going to go over to the next chapter because, Amy just takes a licking and keeps on ticking. she's not innocent in that respect. You understand what I'm saying? Hold on. She's not innocent in that respect, but to me that to me it seemed more authentic. All right. It's something. I'm going to share my screen here. Let me just make sure I can read this. Okay. Let's read a little bit of this here. Let's read a little bit. So this later that they said this information that they said later she's still contending 10, 20, 30 years later. It's true because this is an article now from 1927 December, and Amy is still saying, number 1 is still saying the same thing, right? So let's go ahead and share this. Let's do a little cross-referencing here and take off this. Yes, sir. All right. So this is a Gleaner article from December 23rd, 1927. Statements relative to Mr. Marcus Garvey. Yeah. So it goes on to say, this was article published in yesterday's Gleaner, and it's a reprint from Panama American. No offense meant. Yo, don't take this the wrong way. It says no offense meant, but this is about to get saucy. Leader of UNIA refutes publication as a libel on himself and wife. Let's see what's going on here. With reference to a news article appearing in our issue of yesterday headed May Sue Marcus Garvey in our divorce court, we received a letter from Mr. Garvey as follows: Kingston, Jamaica, Mon Repos Halfway Tree. So this is still going on. What did we read? Since 1920, 7 years later, hop to a whole new country. Still going on. Still going on. 7 years later. Manager of the Gleaner Corporation. Dear sir, your newspaper, quote unquote, The Gleaner, bearing date of the 22nd of December 1927, on its third page, in the third column from the left, he wants you to know exactly where you put it, carries a libelous news item against me and against my wife, which I desire to draw to your attention. The caption of the article is May Sue Marcus Garvey in our divorce courts, Mrs. Amy Ashwood Garvey, first wife, contends she was never divorced. How many years later? How many years later? Josephine and Napoleon still are fighting at the paper. I hereby beg to serve notice on you that except in your next issue of the 23rd installment, you make, what is it? A bold retraction, denial, and apology for printing the libelous article. I threaten them now, I shall instruct my attorney to institute a suit against you for 100,000 pounds in damages, and shall also have my wife's attorney, Miss Amy Jakes Garvey, institute liable against you in a similar amount. Garvey, it's only liable if it is not true. So now him come with big bad, yo, me gonna sue you, because this not true. All you have to do is produce a divorce paper if you say it's not true. What is all of this? Your editor ought to be intelligent enough, here I come for their intelligence now, to know that he was publishing a viciously libelous article against me and against my wife when he states, number one, Garvey Love argued, oh my goodness, when you first seen him coming back to Jamaica in 1914, is it? That first Gleaner article when he starts beefing with the man about the paper, how many years later he is still doing it? Like 13 years later, he's still beefing in the Gleaner. He would have been Twitter fingers, okay? Number one, that Amy Ashwood is my legitimate wife. Number two, that I never obtained a divorce from her. Number three, that I am a virtual prisoner in Jamaica of the British government. So now you make me have to go find the actual article because, that I should have to spend the remainder of my life trying to get a passport. Number six, that if it is known that I, Marcus Garvey, never divorced the said Amy Ashwood. Number seven, that the said Amy Ashwood had never made any attempts to prosecute me or referring to Marcus Garvey his bigamous marriage. Number eight, that Amy Ashwood, that Amy Ashwood supplied the meeting place for the members of my organization and had paid the office rent and the initial expenses out of her income as a teacher in Jamaica. Isn't that what they said? That the first places that when he was in the hotel on Orange Street, I don't know, I wasn't there, but okay. Number nine, that Marcus Garvey could not understand why he was not a Superman to the said Amy Ashwood. Let me go find this article here because I wouldn't write. It says, these and other libels contained in the article lay a foundation for my suit of damages. You have to first prove it's true or false, against your paper and your sweeping remarks, which only could have been published for malice that Amy Ashwood was not divorced and that she is my legitimate wife, constitute a libelous and vicious attack against my present wife, Mrs. Amy Jakes Garvey, and she shall also file suit against you. You told us that already, Marcus. On her account for damages in retraction as prominent as the attack in the note in the issue not published on the 23rd in your paper. Yours truly, Marcus Garvey. It says the news article in question was merely a reproduction of an article taken by us from the Panama America on the 15th installment, which apparently in turn was taken by them from a Philadelphia newspaper. The news article was reproduced by us without any malice or ill will to Mr. Garvey or any other party and in entire good faith. We made and make no assertions of fact, and we readily published Mr. Garvey's comments on the matter referred to. There is no need for Mr. Garvey to threaten us with the law. Yo, today me never feel so hot, but who wrote this? Will you attack me for Garvey? If you want to sue somebody, sue the person who actually wrote it. We regret any annoyance the publication of the paragraph may have caused. We raise no issue of fact with him. We have no personal knowledge of the matter referred to, and we suggest that his denunciation should not fairly be leveled at us. This sweeping repudiation by us of any intended assertions on our part of any of the matters referred to will be we trust be regarded by all concerning as bona fide and dignified explanation of the matter. So there was like, Garvey, away you come to me for, I never me do it. Me just a write what them did write. December 1927. Hold on there. I don't know why you're attacking us. That's what I got. Tell me what you guys got. December. Let me see something else. 1927. That read beautifully. That narrowed the date. That was wild. He must be like crosses. He can't get away from her. Let me see. December 23rd. Okay, here's the original one. Wait. Let's get the original one. Yo, Amy had him in the paper heavy. No, wait. Okay, this is the original. Let's see what's going on here before we move on. This is a little bit later. Hold on there. Let me see what I'll go on there. So. This is November. Hold on, everybody. 1 second. December the 23rd. All right, we read that one there already. Okay, in this next one, okay, this is another one, and then we're gonna see why he was probably pissed because his name keep coming in the paper with the same conversation. So let me share this here. This one is a month before, right? So this one is November the 26th. So on 1927. So this is years later. This is after all the whole situation in America. Many fruitless petition. From time to time during his incarceration, Garvey's followers inside America and outside it, including Jamaica, made every effort by petition to the President of the United States for his release. But his enemies, who were many and powerfully bitterly opposed every effort for official clemency on his behalf. At last, however, he has been released and will be sent back to Jamaica at an early date. About 5 years ago, Garvey paid a visit to Jamaica on his Black Star Line boat and remained in the island for about a fortnight addressing meetings. He got a big reception on his arrival at the theater. He has been twice married. His first wife was Miss Amy Ashwood of Jamaica, from whom he secured a divorce. Then he married another Jamaican lady, Miss Amy Jakes. So in the paper, the month before, they were under the impression that Garvey had a divorce, and it wasn't anything liable or any slander. That later on, now Garvey's like, yo, on a wicked, on a terrible. The beginning of it, he was just like, oh, okay, dude is coming back. He's been married twice, and this is what it was. It looks like when they realized nothing ever did Aguan, I mean, actually, it was something else. That's when they reprinted someone else's paper. Okay, this one is not going. This December 14th one looks good, but I'm not. It no look good. The title is Mr. M. Garvey's Last Minute in the States, just before sailing from New Orleans. But the scan on it is not good. I'm not about to stress myself on that scan right there. Hold on, let me see if we got a better one here. I'm gonna come read the comment section in a second. And then that's what we have for today. Marcus Garvey is not disappointing. All right, boom. Okay, this is the article he was referring to, and then we are going to wrap it up. For those who just joined us, welcome to the conversation. Let me see what I say right now. Hold on there. Hold on there. Hold on there. Greetings to those who have just joined us. I can't with Boana right now. Good evening, everybody who has just joined us. She could have been Dolly House. I mean, that's what Amy Number One is asserting. I mean, to squash the whole thing, he could have just produced the paperwork, and that would have been good. If you produce the paperwork, then you know what I mean. Then all of this, you could have shut her up. But if you can't produce the paperwork, it leads us to believe she has a point. Yeah, I think she was salty. Welcome, Yakina. Welcome to the conversation. Welcome. All right. Now let's read the article that got Garvey all, and plus he just come. If what we're reading, if he just coming to Jamaica, right? And this is in the Gleaner, he could have been like, "Yo, bro, this is too much. This are too much. This are too much." All right. I was thinking at another time, just to see what was going on, is like pick a date in the Gleaner and just read stories about what was happening in the Caribbean. I think I'm gonna make a little short section, not so long, like a pre-recorded video, because I find it curious to just be seeing what's happening outside of the people we're looking at, just in general. You know, what was happening in the paper. I actually went through some Gleaners and was able to find, 1 and 2 references to family members. So you never know. The Gleaner is another place that you can find certain things, and just going over and reading it. I think I'm gonna have a little section like about weird offbeat stories that I find in the Gleaner, because there's a lot of stuff here. But let's go. This paper is the day before Marcus got in his feelings. May sue Marcus Garvey in our divorce court. Amy says, I thought I told you that we don't stop. I thought I told you that. She don't stop. She doesn't. That would be, yeah, you guys would like that? I thought it was just me. Yeah, I would like that. I would like to just be listening to random Gleaner stories. Random Gleaner stories. Okay. Let me get back to work here. Which one I didn't know. All right, boom. Let me close some of them windows. Yeah, we read that already. Okay, so that's what he's referring to. Miss Amy Garvey, Ashwood Garvey, first wife, contends she was never divorced. And it may be that the article that was printed, this is why it's good to know what happened before, what happened after, right? She could be responding, because what did we just read in November of the 26th of November? What did we read? We read unknowingly that the Gleaner printed that Marcus, who had two wives, he divorced one and now he's married to the other. That may have triggered Amy. Sometimes you will see a man or somebody go mad or then pop off and you say, oh, that person is so crazy. They got triggered. So it looked like she could have gotten triggered, possibly because they were like, she divorced. And she's like, divorce, which divorce? And then she writes, and then Marcus is now triggered that she's writing, right? So let's continue here. All right. Coming here soon. Declares leader of UNIA will have difficulty in leaving these shores. Philadelphia, PA, December the 8th. Miss Amy Ashwood Garvey is not saying much about the deportation of Marcus Garvey to his home island of Jamaica. It looked like they want to stir up. This seen by the writer in her dressing room at the Gibson Theater, where she has a show, quote, Brown Sugar, end quote, in conjunction with Sam Manning, who we're going to read about in the next chapter, right? So she was like, Cho, Gwe, she going to do her thing with Sam Manning, which is literally the picture in the next chapter. So that is another fact that's lining up according to this article. So she's going on doing her thing and asked the question, do you think the government should have exercised its pejorative, what is this? Prerogative and deported Mr. Garvey? She hesitated. What is it? This, and something replied. I can't see that. That kind of, I have nothing to say in answer to that question. I had nothing to do with it, and not fooled that you should attempt to quote me in that particular matter. She said, me I not eat that. And not feel. I think that's what that says. She's like, yo, nobody try and mix me up in your thing. So this to me is like, okay, Amy is being a little bit, she's not like, yes, who you talk about? That dirty boy Marcus. Let me tell you. She's like, bro, where you come to me with that for? Where you mix me up in that for? Asked if the departure of the self-styled provisional president of Africa from these shores would cause any change in the status of her relations to him, she was more communicative. So she was like, well, the deported thing, nobody asked me about that, but me would talk about something else. May fight divorce here. My fight will have to be staged in the courts of Jamaica now, she said. After all, that will be the something place to settle our differences, best place to settle our differences. As soon as my lawyers notify me, I shall proceed to Jamaica and meet him face to face. What, bad girl? My fight is not yet over because he has never settled with me. I am his legitimate, so she's still maintaining this part. I am his legitimate wife because he has never obtained a divorce from me. What did he say? Something at up. I enjoy status as wife. That thing kind of shaky. Meanwhile, I am trying to maintain myself as best I can in an honorable way. Because remember, say, appear bunch out here again. So this is the article that pissed. So far, it is not as salacious because if she's making a false claim, all you got to do is show the paperwork, Garvey. If you be like, I lie, see divorce, yeah, this I went with do it. I remember coming to drink tea afterwards. Just do that. Why? What's all with this 100,000 pound suing and all of this stuff? Just produce the paperwork. Go. So which part would they know? This thing kind of sticky, Mr. Garvey's friend's statement that he intends to enter Africa to further his dreams of empire would do him more harm than good. He is in Jamaica, a virtual prisoner of the British government because he's a man without a passport. Shit. Doom, 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 doom. I'm sorry is all that she can say. Shots fired. I believe he would have to spend the remainder of his life trying to get one. As far as Africa and Liberia is concerned. Marcus Garvey is absolutely wrong. Now, when we get now, me good at this, but when them a get down in at the bottom, me not lie, some Morse code down here because the scanning no good. I fail to see why he should something leaving this country. Protest, I think. He has something allegation and then it get kind of sketchy because it never scanning good. Let me go back up here. So wait, look better. So he never divorced me. And yet I have been belittled and scorned. I have never made any attempt to prosecute him or his bigamy or his bigamous marriage. And I had nothing to do with his downfall. Where give you all of that for hear me what? Indeed, I was not in the country when he was indicted, but I have tried to live above the tongues of the rabble. Friends of Miss Garvey with the show were not so reluctant to talk about the man who cemented a million Negroes into a potent world alliance. They said that she had been one of the strong factors in Garvey's original organization and had supplied a meeting place for the members and had paid the office rent and other initial expenses out of her income as a teacher in Jamaica. So this is where Garvey are telling people and say, I'm going to sue them for. Marcus Garvey, they said, forgot these things and could not understand why he was never a superman to her. Oops. Everybody thinks I am a great man except you, he said to have complained. But Miss Garvey, amiable, competent, wagged no tongue of, what is this? Scandalous or scandals, uttered no word of defamation against her errant spouse of other any mayhap earlier years or earlier happier days. Just now she says she is a theatrical producer and that is her be all and end all of the moment. And that was the article that got Marcus in his feelings. Whew. For those who just joined us, welcome to the conversation. Merciful Father, hear me. So, hold on. Everybody, don't forget to subscribe. Let me run this real quick. So, Amy, if you want to prove her wrong, you can't just go around threatening to sue people. Prove her wrong. You know what I'm saying? Did you say that you were having a UNIA meeting when you first met her? Was it in a hotel? Did you move to the other side of the house that she was renting? Did you have monies to pay at first? Did she contribute? All of this stuff is easy. You have people there. You have paperwork. You could easily say, call this one, call that one, look at this paperwork, look at that paperwork. Did you get divorced? Produce the paperwork. If not, stop it. Just stop it here, Marcus. All right, everybody. That's what I have for today. Let me see what's going on here. The 1980s, what about reading the articles? I would start I would look around. Like I said, I've come across some real interesting. No, you guys can have access, you can have access. The paperwork is, you have to pay for the service still, but it's newspaperarchive.com. Newspaperarchive.com. The other one that comes through Ancestry, I think it more has American newspapers, or you really have to, because a lot of the research I'm doing is in the Caribbean, I tend to lean heavily on the sources that well document the Caribbean, right? So even though this is newspaperarticles.com, they tend to have a lot of the Caribbean articles more intact, especially in the Gleaner. I may find some of the other ones because it's all about who scanned their archives online to have it accessible. Right. So you definitely can have the access. That's the name of the site and you can check it out as long as you know what you're looking for. It's all there. It's all there. Someone called Cumberbatch to get this woman off his act. No, you could easily get rid of Amy 123, produce the paperwork. She's making a claim, sometimes, and this happens in our own life, in our own families, in our workplace. Somebody's making a valid claim, right? But because the person does other things like come late or park in your parking spot. I don't know. Don't pick up their plate. We take the other things that they do to try to make what's happening now invalid. And that's straw man type tactics. That's building a logical fallacy. Because you did this, then that also means this. No. So because she was wild, which based on the account she was, and because she was out here giving bun, which based on the account she was, then one is supposed to believe that Marcus divorced her, or that she's lying about not being divorced. All you gotta do is produce the paperwork. Her giving bun and all of that stuff is one matter. That has nothing to do with whether or not he has paperwork from the divorce. Answer the question, not the other things. And that's what we tend to do. And I spend all day in my personal life mediating and dealing with bruh. That has nothing to do with the topic at hand. Can you disprove what she just said? That's all we hear on. And people find it hard to stay on topic. People find it terribly hard. I used to host a show for many years with men and women talking about various problems that happen in the community between men and women. I was the host because, as you guys can see, I like fair and objective speech. And I found that people found it hard to stay on topic. Why? Because emotions is going to bring us here and bring us there. It's be like, and why are we going all the way? Did the person say something wrong? Address that. And for some reason, we find it difficult to do that. But I'm here to be like, nah. Yeah. We talking about her Sunday bun later. Let's talk about what was addressed in this article. Did they divorce? If so, Marcus has countless records. He is the record king. When Whitney Houston was asking about receipts, she was talking about Marcus. Marcus is the king of receipts. How come you don't have this one? There are 10 volumes of the Garvey papers. I should be able to look at a Garvey paper. There are volumes and volumes and volumes of this. Hundreds of pages, thousands of pages. Tell me the page that I go to say, and is the divorce decree. That's all. Because if it ain't there, then we ain't answer the question. He ain't going to get no libel. He ain't getting libel. Right? Amy's over there like, you not about to wind me up. I agree, Lee. Amy's like, you not about to wind me up. But I know what you can quote me on. I know what you can quote me on. Yeah, she had the receipts. All right, I see Bawana. Welcome to the conversation. Hold on 1 second.
Hey, Mona, how are you today?
Why am I there? I play constant.
But you know what, though, Mona, you're right. You're absolutely right. People need to stick to the subject. It doesn't matter that she was abusive. It doesn't matter that she was a cheater. She said, produce the paperwork that shows that you got it. That's a fair statement. That's a fair statement. But I'm asking, right? I know what he do. He do a Caribbean man. He was like, man, F that man. I get, you know what I mean? So I think that's what Garvey did. And he probably was a bigger mess. But I would say, why is this woman running this man down? Obviously, she don't want the man, Mona. She don't want the man. And I feel like she was operating out of spite because she wouldn't have given him a divorce. she saw this man having like a big audience, making enough money. So she feel like she want a piece of that. But I'm thinking to myself, when you was married to the man and the man was broke, you wasn't behaving anyways. All of a sudden, you have all this energy to chase him from one country to the next country. Come on, man. I feel like that's very weird. Let the man go.
Wait, like you said, if we stay on topic, right? To be fair, according to the story, when him never have 2 shilling for rub together, he didn't even have the 2 shilling that Norval gave Bob, okay? He didn't have 2 shillings. She was like, yo, let's level up. That's her complaint, right? And when he was over there in the hotel on the cot talking about come to my meeting and was really his room, she wanted to help the organization to move to one of her father's properties. So we can't necessarily say she was hollering at him because he had money, because when she first met him, he had no money. I think her contention is when you finally got to where you were going, you'll get rich and switch. No, I'm not saying she didn't have problems. I'm just saying, based on all of the facts that I'm hearing, she feels resentful not only because of Marcus's behavior, but also how the whole thing plays out with Amy Garvey. And I think for that, she has like an axe to grind with the whole
I
situation. Go ahead.
and I hear that. I respect that. But if I was Garvey, I would have to give her that Cassie P Diddy money. I would have give her shut up. No, it's no hold on. Because I'm thinking to myself, Garvey probably could have made that 75, and she was extorting them. That would have been pure extortion money.
Yeah, she
But
was
just
going in.
really to,
Going
yeah,
in.
just really to put that to bed and cause her to go somewhere. I would have given her that 75. Yes, you did something helpful to me at one particular point in my life. Even though you bring pure his hell and misery to my life, I'll give you the 75. I'll give you the 75 per month. Wait, 75 a month? 75 a month?
No, she wanted 70. I think she wanted 75 a week, Jed. And at that time, it would have been like, it would have been equivalent to like 5,000 for the month in
Woo!
today's. Yeah, and Garvey was like, bro, I'm only making $25 a week. You doing the most.
Yeah, she
So
was trying to take everything. She
he
was trying
was
to take.
he was taking him to the laundry. So his
Yeah.
contention is, look, I don't have the money. But I think it just got confusing when all of the other pieces, I think, when all of the other pieces came in and she felt entitled. I don't think people act like this unless they feel like you owe them. You understand what I'm saying? Because otherwise, where's your conscience? Like, okay, maybe I'm doing too much. I'm literally destroying what we built. You understand? So to some degree, I think she felt short, like she was shorted, and she's coming for hers.
Yeah,
7 years.
but but how much did she owe? I mean,
I
it's
don't
like, all right,
know. I don't know.
you can't because you don't owe the man don't owe you everything. Everything he have, she was acting out of spite, and I felt like if Marcus Garvey to get a legitimate divorce, maybe the judge, well, I probably during that time, every judge in America would have been biased against that case because of who Marcus Garvey was. So he probably wouldn't have get a fair shot in that scenario. But I'm thinking that if he was to get a biased judge to assess in family court to assess what went on and to try to get a divorce, they could have get up to a friendly. It wouldn't have been friendly, but at least a settlement where she would have been able to see some of his money, but
Right.
not 75 or 20, and he making 25. Come on, man.
He said,
Come on,
but
man.
they did try. Remember, he brings the divorce, and I think also the fact that he brings it against her kind of put a battery in her back. Like he first brings it against her, and then she brings one against him. You understand what I'm saying? And then both of them
Tit for
get,
tat, yeah.
yeah,
Tit
they
for tat,
started
yeah.
doing this tit for tat thing, and I could only imagine how ugly it looked in the public, right? Not to say that like, hey, people need to know what's going on, but bro, y'all are going in. It couldn't have been a good look for the nation. You know what I mean? At
No,
all.
no, no. That's true. That's true, and that's why I appreciate. You know what? To be honest with you, I still appreciate her because I think that she did leave sufficient information in
She did.
terms of the history of Garvey. But I respect Amy Jakes too. Amy Jakes full of phosphorus.
But like she said, I mean, Amy did pull a fast one, but Amy also, we never, everybody, everything we do, we're gonna pay a fee. So, like she said in her letter, Amy, you pulled a fast one, but you caught this on the way down. You understand what I'm saying? So now, when the volume 1 and volume 2 of the philosophies and opinions of Marcus Garvey, he over there, she got to take dictations while homie's in jail. Like, yo, I need you to
That's
do
true.
this. I need you to do that. So he put her
Yeah.
to work. She didn't just come in and slide on in on the back end. Like he really put her to work because why?
But Amona, she was the secretary anyways. So
Well,
I mean,
there you go.
she would have done that anyway.
Well, there, I guess so.
This is like extra work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yes, yes,
definitely.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you
Yes,
for
but
calling.
yes, I appreciate you, man. Yes, I appreciate the readings too, Amona. Yes,
Give
yes, respect.
thanks. All right, then. We see artists. Artists have joined the conversation. Welcome to the conversation.
I was trying not to say anything tonight.
Why not?
There's so many things that are left out that we don't know. But based upon what we're reading, what you're reading, and what we're listening to, I just think if you would go back to the beginning of how they started out together, like any man and any woman who started out and the woman is there for the man, holding him down, sneaking out of the house,
Right.
behind her mother back. Her mother have
Right.
to
Right.
send her to where Panama
Panama.
because she
Right.
was all up in him. Who knows?
Hmm.
She was taken from her mother to even give to him, as she did with the office with her dad. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's things that she may have done that is not in the book, and a lot of things that we don't know. But you
Hmm.
look like it just seems like she did right for him. She believed in what he was doing, and she was there.
Hmm.
Now, did her other side get exposed after they got married and even probably a little bit before that, but he never took notice of it?
Hmm.
Yeah. And, such a, it's something that was there because that was such a quick divorce. And she knows exactly the kind of business, and he's king of king and lord of lords. She
Oh
can't go out
gosh.
and be doing things and, he still was still trying to hold it together
Right.
because in all of this he was still having a lot of issue. He still was trying to get the Black Star Line. He was still trying to have money to pay people. There's a lot
Hmm.
of things that was coming against him. And
True.
then in his own house she was, doing some things that would even put him more in the limelight, that in a negative light.
Hmm.
So I understand getting the divorce, and they're both angry on each end. She's angry for, she wants payback. He's angry that she's trying to ruin him, and it just. But Jesus, it's just like nowadays. It's the same old thing. It's just that we happen to be reading Garvey. You know,
Right. It's the same thing. I like
it's
that you brought that up. Nothing much has changed, really.
nothing much has changed,
Yeah.
because when you're even reading that and you said what he's doing, and he's writing a newspaper, and he started to see, I am going to do this, that just sounds like his daddy. Well, this came to me as a picture of his daddy saying, I owed you what? No, we going to court.
Right.
I owe you money, but we going to court for all
Right.
those
I'm
paper.
dead wrong. Right. And
You
that's
know,
why it's cyclical. He's dead wrong. And instead of all you had to do was produce the divorce papers.
produce the divorce paper because there's no receipt.
There's no, and that's what her contention is. And shout out to Kevin from UK. Kevin gave me the correction. It's 12 volumes. So even more receipts. It's 12
Right.
volumes and not 10. So which volume do we find the divorce paper?
Yeah, how could you not have that? Then you remarried, so you must have had something to show,
Right.
or that was just a sleight of hand underneath marriage that you did, that it
Just
wasn't
like
really
how he
legal.
stowed away on the ship. Let's
Right,
not.
right. Oh, honey, let's do it. We're on the ship. Let the captain marry us. That didn't
No,
count for anything.
no. Remember when he went out the country? We read like two sessions ago. He went out the country and couldn't get back in because America barred him. And then it took
Okay,
him months.
yes,
And then he stowed away. He slipped, quote unquote, past. So he's not a stranger to getting it done by any means necessary. You understand what I'm saying? So
exactly.
her claim, all you got to do, don't try to sue nobody for 100,000 pounds. Produce the paperwork.
Exactly, exactly. So I mean, I love the story. I love listening. It's just like it's just drama, but hey, it's life,
It's
and it just to look and see everybody's life has
mhm.
it's is no bigger than anyone. And just like I said before on another call, it's like you're seeing them in a different light. They're human. You have different parts and different aspect to your life. And now we're reading the Seuss, we're just getting
Mhm.
down to coming off of where, oh, Garvey, but Garvey was a man, and here are his things.
Right. Here,
So
here is the strengths. Here's the weaknesses. I like you
exactly.
said. For me, the takeaway is like you just pointed out. He chastised in the opening of what we first started reading in his little autobiography. He's looking down on his father
Right.
for getting a fortune and losing a fortune, and he comes and does the same
Big
exact
picture. There you
thing,
go.
the same exact thing that you just looked down on him for.
That's it. It's like I could have done better, but here you go. He had so much,
He did
but he
even
had
worse. He did
what?
even worse because that was just over a little circular. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
But
right.
you did worse. You had millions of dollars and people's trust and the nation and nations passed through your hand.
Nations.
And nations, not just nation, and you lost that all too.
Oh my
So you
God.
came and did worse. Sometimes in the Bible it says, and they came and did worse than their fathers. That's what he just
Exactly.
did.
You can't point finger, like 10 more is pointing back
Right.
at you, right?
So
That's
and
saying there's never been wrong.
right. So how do we learn really? If we and this is another thing I'm a big proponent of. not looking at our foreparents or our mothers, our fathers, our grandparents to point the finger and say, yeah, you're terrible, you're bad. But if you don't know their mistake, how can you
Right.
learn from it?
Right.
You're gonna come
Right.
back and do worse than with them do. Why? Because it's already in the water. You are drink
Mm-hmm.
it, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't even know.
Mm-hmm. True.
You
True. When you're in
understand?
it, you don't know like
Yeah.
that. We're reading it and we're seeing it, but when you're in it, because he grew up
Correct.
in the house where he
Correct.
sees his dad doing this, he sees his mom doing this,
Correct.
and then it doesn't even realize that he's doing the same thing.
The exact same thing, and even worse. And your sister, according to the narrative, is telling you something. Your
Right.
bigger sister at that, and you're
Right.
confused to yourself with them. I can't talk about at my house.
For a
And
while there, we were asking about, wait a minute, how he didn't talk about his sister. Now she showed up.
she
So
showed up,
yeah.
and I don't fault the husband. Like, yo, hold your house, man. Take this. I'm out. That tells
Right?
me
We're
they were
not getting
looking to
caught up in
leave.
this.
Cause who leaves the next day? Like, did you just excuse me? Like, where you just a while ago?
No man, me too big for this. Me too big.
Yeah, I'm
Mama,
saying,
lift it down. Let me
Indiana,
leave that
come
place,
man,
yeah.
pack up your bag. We're gone.
No, this is powerful. Thank you so much.
Thank you
If
so
you
much
can
for
drop
joining.
those little anchor for me of where I can go, because I'm just my heritage there with my looking for my great grandfather, Delapenna. I know the name Delapenna is in Jamaica and it's pronounced.
Okay.
It's a whole lot of them, but there's a specific one I'm looking for, and I
Uh,
really want to run our tree to
okay.
see who we're connected to. If you can just
So
jabber those things,
I'm
give me a
I'm gonna
jabber.
put it in the chat right now.
I appreciate
FamilySearch.org,
that.
newspaper dot archive, and if the person's already put the tree together, then ancestry.com on the other part. So let me just put.
Okay. Okay. Because they're asking all of us to sign up, but does everybody have to sign up for it to get that information?
What's that?
Ancestry.com.
Um. Okay, you guys are looking for somebody, and
We're
you have
looking to form the tree and then we're just looking to, just connect the dots.
the best place to form the tree if you have Caribbean ancestry. To me, at first, it's like you form the tree there, and then you put it over to ancestry. So the best
Okay.
person is to put it together is FamilySearch.org, and I only say that because they have a lot of the originals,
Okay.
right?
FamilySearch.org.
Right.
Okay. That's what I was
Ancestry
looking for.
usually tells you they have it, but they don't. They're not pulling like how you see I pull all of the stuff, the marriage, everything.
Right. Yes, that's what I'm
That's on
looking
Family
for.
Search. That's on Family Search. That's where you're gonna get.
FamilySearch.org. Okay.
Yes. And then
All
when you
right.
want to put the tree together, because a lot of people know
Do the
about,
ancestry part of
right,
it.
that's the end part where you can connect with people now. But if you want to do the back work, then I would go over there first.
FamilySearch.org. Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome. You're
All right,
welcome.
darling. Bye.
All right, blessed. All right, greetings and welcome to those who have just joined us. We winding down now. Kevin says, book seeing red, federal campaigns against black militancy. A must read. Yeah, there was definitely, I think of years ago, I read about the declassified paperwork on Garvey, right? And how the real, like you're saying, the real ways in which they tried to stop what was going on. So that is not a question. Like that's the serious side of things. That is real. That is not a question. Um, it's just that this side is where, like again, many people don't know or didn't know, even though the information is there. And if we don't know, then we can't learn, right? And a lot of times you do have men who have women who support them in their endeavors, but it depends on the man. When you get to where you're going, do you remember who helped you to get there? Right. I think Amy May, I don't know, like artist just said, I don't know how much of a part she played, but I do like the point that she brought up that this girl was young. And I keep saying I think something happened to her because uh, her behavior is extreme. I think something happened to her along the way. I don't know where, but if you look at the reason she ends up in Panama, let's say that something bad, we don't know, but say something happened to her in Panama. The reason she ends up in Panama is Marcus, because it's the relationship that she's building with him that compels her mother to call her father to take her out of Jamaica. You understand what I'm saying? And the possibility is that uh, Panama may not have been the best for her at that time. I see that she is from, or she was in Colin, and that it said that her father left her. And during that time when the building of the Panama Canal was going on, they had European Americans who were there, and they had Caribbean people who were also there. And they also had like this little town. I looked it up because some of my ancestors, my great grandmother ended up actually going to Panama. So I did a lot of research and saw it. And it's interesting to look at the layout of the town. And, they had bars, they had different places. So the question is, what type of company did she fall into? Where did the areas did she end up? Why is she now in that very formative part of her life? Even though she's not a little girl, she's still in a place where if she gets some type of injury, it may affect the way she interfaces, right? And then when you sit down and you're wondering, like, how me reach Yasa? 1 minute, me there, mind my business, me there, Jamaica, do me thing. And the next minute, me down one foreign land again, trying to find my way. How do we know how she dealt with that? That may have been something that contributed to the experience that she had, and why she won't stop trying to hold Marcus accountable for what he did. And he was older than her. She's what, 18, 20, and he's like 27. He's older than her, and because her relationship with her, she kind of loses a lot of things. And it puts her in a position why he went on to live his life. That book also touches how the powers that be exploited and instigated the rift between Amy, Ashford, and Marcus. Well, there's a possibility. There's a possibility. Now I said no. There is a possibility. Thank you so much for that. There is a possibility. There's so much here, you guys. There's so much here. We're not going to be able to cover it all. I still do have Jake's book over there. I had to stop for a second because she kind of glosses over a lot of things. But she also talks about, and we'll jump over to that after we finish with this, how Marcus interacts with the children when they ultimately get to what's the place? England. When they ultimately get to England, he's kind of this same cold, disconnected figure that his father was. And how she eventually has to run off and come back to Jamaica for the health of her child. Right? So Amy is interesting because she didn't fully escape. And that's kind of what happens in life. We may feel like we get away, but we don't. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Let me know if you have anything else to share before we go ahead and wind down. Yo, oh gosh, this stuff, it's not funny. But why did Marcus say he was going to sue her? He was going to sue the paper. The paper was like, me, sir? Me? I may not do nothing. All me do is reprint the paper where Anna never me write it. So why you not go sue the people then? But why did she come for his passport? She said, man, no papers, and he never can go nowhere. For real, Amy, that was a little petty. That was a little petty. That was. She's like, me, them have nothing to do with it. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even there, bro. I wasn't even there. I never even there around when this thing that happened. Anywho. All right, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. We'll see you guys again next time. Like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, everybody have a blessed day.